Welcome back to Ion Foxborough. I'm Karen Garigian. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome two-time Patriots Super Bowl champion and ESPN analyst Damien Woody. Hey, Damien, how are you?
I am well, Karen. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I know we're all on pins and needles for the schedule release.
Mhm.
But before we get to that, I'd love to talk Patriots with you. A lot has changed,
Mhm.
God, since the season ended. New coach,
Yep.
new executive vice president of personnel, new quarterback.
Yep.
Um, do you see them headed in the right direction?
Well, listen, I think that clearly there was change that needed to be had. Obviously, all good things come to an end. We always talk about, the empire that was the Patriots dynasty. There was a great run, unprecedented run, but I'm excited about the new faces that are in place for the Patriots. It's a new outlook, new way of looking at things. Obviously, you talk about Elliot Wolf, who's now the new personnel man in charge in the front office, and then obviously Gerard Mayo, who's a former Patriot, now the head coach. He's going to do things his way. Obviously, Bill Belichick had his imprint on Gerard Mayo's from his time as being his head coach, but I'm really excited to see this new era of Patriots football where we get to see things from a different perspective. You know, change can be good sometimes. So we're going to see what happens.
Well, I know you're interested because you played and won two Super Bowls in New England. You went to Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
Without Bill, without Tom, with a team that's rebuilding, do people have curiosity about the Patriots and if they can, like, nationally, if they can kind of get back into contender status?
Yeah, I would say it like this, Karen. I think the Patriots are where a lot of franchises are right now. The Patriots were a preeminent franchise for over 2 decades, obviously, with the unprecedented success with, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. But now we're in a new era. And in this new era, you're kind of like at the bottom of the totem pole. You have to restart. Everything is anew. I think there's a lot of intrigue about what Gerard Mayo is going to bring to this organization. But listen, that dynasty is over. Now it's time to start something new. And yes, there's going to be interest from the national media, but I think people will have perspective on where the Patriots are. This is a rebuilding franchise, and I think people are curious to see how this thing is going to go about.
Hmm. Well, obviously that rebuild starts with quarterback. Um, they signed Jacoby Brissett as, I believe, like a placeholder, to hold the fort until the rookie is ready, Drake May. What's your take on, you take a quarterback third overall, does he have to start right away? Or, is it better to kind of, help him iron out the kinks before he gets out there with, a questionable offensive line and not as many weapons as perhaps would benefit a rookie.
Yeah, listen, we've seen both approaches work in the National Football League. We've seen Patrick Mahomes sit a year and then come out, and obviously we know the type of career he's having so far. We've seen quarterbacks, start right from the get go. Look at last year's quarterback, C.J. Stroud from Houston, and the year he put together. So both ways can work. I think it's got to be what's right for the particular situation. And as I look at the New England Patriots, obviously, the first thing I look at is Jacoby Brissett. Like you couldn't ask for a better quarterback to be in that quarterback room. He's literally a pro's pro. You can win with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett can play winning football, and he's very smart. His work ethic is off the charts, and he's not. And I think most importantly, Karen, he's not a guy that will kind of stiff arm a young quarterback. He's a guy that he will share the wealth of knowledge that he's learned in the National Football League. He will help Drake May in this situation. And so, listen, I think first and foremost, the quarterback room is a great room for New England right now. And My feelings, I think Drake May should sit. I think there's some fundamental things as far as his footwork,
Mm.
mechanics that he needs to iron out. Because listen, if your feet and eyes aren't aligned together, you're going to be in a lot of trouble in the National Football League. And I even said before the draft, I felt like when New England drafts a quarterback, I think that quarterback needs to sit because I didn't feel like the infrastructure in New England could would help a young quarterback playing right away. So listen, at the end of the day, Gerard Mayo is going to have to make this call. He's going to make this call based on what he sees in the classroom, how this young man develops day in and day out as far as practice is concerned. And then ultimately, when we get to some type of live action in games, but what I will say is, I feel like the quarterback room is in a great place because Jacoby Brissett is in that room.
You and I have talked about this before in terms of, the Patriots offensively, they're not explosive. They don't have difference-making type of players. They went after one in free agency, Calvin Ridley, but uh, lost out to Tennessee in
Yep.
terms of money. They added a couple receivers in the draft who I think might turn out to be good, but I guess it remains to be seen if the Patriots have done enough to kind of bolster the offense with weapons.
Yeah, listen, the one thing I always say about in the National Football League, it is so hard to drive the ball, 12, 13, 14 plays. It's just very hard to do because you need explosive plays. You need chunk plays in the National Football League. And we've seen the Patriots make some moves this offseason, obviously bringing in KJ Osborne. I think that's an underrated signing. I think KJ Osborne is going to really help this Patriots team. And obviously they added a couple young players in this draft that I think will have a real opportunity not only to develop but be big parts of this Patriots offense. But listen, at the end of the day, I still think there's not enough explosive players, particularly on the perimeter.
Mm.
I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done. But again, that's why this is a rebuild. It's a rebuild for a reason because of this team was lacking in certain areas and particularly on offense.
Let's move to the offensive line, which
Mm-hmm.
you know something about. Um, they re-signed Mike Onwenu, which I thought was terrific.
Yes.
So he's going to hold down right tackle. Uh, they lost Trent Brown in free agency, so there's a hole at left tackle, and they didn't. In the draft, they watched as a bunch of left tackles went off the board late in the
Mm-hmm.
second round, and then they drafted. Uh, they drafted a kid who's primarily played right tackle, Sadon Wallace. Do you think it's a big deal? Now they're saying they think he can move and play left tackle. Is that a lot to put on a kid right away, trying to flip to an opposite side?
No, listen. I've told people before. First of all, you're talking to a guy who's played four different positions in the National Football League. I've done it before. It's not easy, but it can be done. A lot of it is what we call muscle memory, right? A lot of these guys have been so accustomed to playing one position that it's going to take a lot of muscle memory to make the switch, but it can happen. There's no question. We're seeing it. Even in the draft, you're seeing like the Los Angeles Chargers, they took Joe Alt at number 5. Guess what? He's primarily a left tackle. He's going to play right tackle with Jim Harbaugh out there. This happens all the time. So I think it's going to be important for the young man, and I'm sure the Patriots are already starting to do this, is continue to have those reps in OTAs, in minicamp, in training camp. That's how you do it. You just need reps. It's not something that's impossible, but it's going to take time. It's going to take reps for him to get comfortable making that switch.
Yeah, your former mentor, Dante Scarnecchia, and I
Mm-hmm.
chatted last week, and he said pretty much a similar thing. He said the difficulty for tackle moving from right to left, if you're predominantly right-handed. It's a little tough to kind of readjust
Yes,
left side, and you're going up against the premier pass rusher on
that
that.
is correct.
But, if you have the fundamentals down, the technique down, like you said, there shouldn't be a problem. So,
Yeah, listen, I think that for more, for me, the most important thing is I like to look at a young man's feet. If he has good feet, he can make that. I'm sure the Patriots, that's why the Patriots made that move, was because the young man showed that he has a certain skill set as far as athletic ability that he can make that switch. And again, it just goes back to reps. Just make the reps, continue to take the reps, and I'm pretty sure that the young man can make the move.
what do you see of the AFC East? I know you follow the Jets pretty closely too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the Patriots climbing out of the basement, and how do you see the succession coming down? Are the Bills going to hold on like they did last year, or
Well, listen, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tight race. I would think most people would assume the three teams that's really going to battle it out is Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets. Patriots. Most people clearly feel like there's a little bit of a rebuild. Obviously, has some work to do offensively. I will say, Patriots defensively, I think it's going to be one of the best units in the league. I think this Patriots defense, that's what's going to be the calling card for the Patriots this year is their defense. Getting back Christian Gonzalez, Matt Judon, getting those guys back to that defense will be huge for them as they continue to develop and evolve on offense. But I think you look at the other teams in the AFC East, Buffalo, to me, I'm still going to anoint Buffalo the king of the division until somebody knocks them off. They have had a lot of defections, a lot of players they had to let go, particularly on the defensive side. They're going to rely mostly on the draft to kind of fill those voids defensively. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, they traded him to the Houston Texans, which is a big move. So listen, anytime you have Josh Allen, you still are in your Super Bowl window. And Josh Allen is clearly the best quarterback in the division. So I'm going to give Buffalo their due. I think the Jets have made a lot of improvements, particularly in the offensive line. Now, granted that they have some older veterans on that side of the ball, particularly on the offensive line, and obviously Aaron Rodgers is coming back off the Achilles. So a lot of things have to go their way. But I think if you look at them on paper, that's another team that's doing well. And then Miami is, they're what I call a 4x1 track team. They're one of the fastest, not the fastest team in the National Football League. Obviously, Mike McDaniel is a brilliant play caller, tour, playing for a contract down in Miami. Obviously, we talk about all the weapons that they have on offense. So I think those are the three teams that most people are focused on. But the Patriots are going to be one of those teams they're like a mosquito. They're going to get on your nerves because they have that defense that's going to be very good, and the offense may take a little time to really come together.
well, they might be a mosquito. I kind of like that. Especially with a defense that's gonna like bother teams, or
Yes.
it's tough for teams to score. You were part of some good defensive teams, for sure. And I'm wondering, one of your former teammates was just roasted. And I'm wondering if you tuned in the Tom Brady roast, and did it make you cringe or were you laughing?
Yeah, I did tune in. I didn't know they were going all the way in like that, Karen. Like they were like it was almost nothing was off limits. Obviously, the whole the whole Robert Kraft thing. Clearly, Tom Brady was like, "No, we're not even going there." But other than that, it was just like, "Whoa, wow!" Like they are really going in on everything Tom Brady, which that's what a roast is supposed to be about. I was a little shocked, to be honest with you, how everyone went at Tom about his marriage, with Giselle. But you know what? That's all a part of the gig. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was, there were some awkward moments, I think, with Bill and Robert Kraft. And, Tom Brady seemed a little squirmish sometimes, but overall, I thought it was a good time.
Would you want to be roasted like that?
Uh, sure, because for me, it doesn't matter. Like it is only so much you can roast. I mean, what are you gonna call me fat? It's just like I don't know what else you're gonna really do, but I don't take myself too seriously. That's why it wouldn't bother me.
Do you find it interesting now that it's like this soap opera playing out with Coach Belichick and Robert Kraft and you know did Robert, sabotage Bill with the Atlanta Falcons and back and forth. What do you make of that relationship?
Very strange, very strange considering um, everything that Bill Belichick has done for the organization. I mean, what was it? How many? Nine Super Bowls, six Super Bowl titles.
Yeah.
The run in New England is, I don't think we're going to see it again in our lifetime.
Mm.
The success that the Patriots organization had over 2 decades is unparalleled, and to see how strained the relationships are within that organization is it's sad, to be honest with you, because it should be celebrated, but it's not. Hopefully, over time, those relationships can be healed. But clearly, I think that it's going to take some time for people to kind of bring it all the way back together. Hopefully, it's not too late where so people won't be here anymore. But it's definitely uncomfortable looking at it from afar.
Yeah. Well, there's another Brady ceremony coming up. They're inducting him into the Patriots Hall of Fame. It's going to be a
Hmm.
deal next month. So people are wondering if Bill's going to show up. I mean, I think Bill and Tom are okay, but the question is more about Bill and Robert. So, uh, yeah, as you said, it's kind of sad that there's this soap opera quality to it. But I'm sure it'll be a nice event. Um, Boston College, your alma mater, hired
Hmm.
Bill O'Brien. What are you excited about that move?
I am. I am excited about that move. I think it's probably the best hire that I've seen. Boston College made had the head coaching spot in football in decades. To be honest with you, I think Billy O brings a credibility to that school that they haven't had in quite some time. I mean, he's been successful. I mean, look at the job he did with Penn State under their circumstances. You know, his success with the Houston Texans. His time with the Patriots. So Bill has always done a very fabulous job wherever he's been, and I'm looking forward to him bringing that cachet and that success to the heights. Right outside of Boston. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, the other thing we're looking forward to is the schedule release. Did you even pay attention as a player? I mean, people get all excited about it, want to know who's playing where and what weeks and uh, who's going abroad and who isn't. Was it that big a deal for you guys, or it didn't matter?
No, listen, it was a big deal. The only two things that most players look at, to be honest with you, is who do we have week one, and when it's a bye week. Those are the two main points in the schedule. I just want to know, okay, who we're opening up with, so we have something to work towards, and then I need to know when the bye week is. So because that's important for players. Like, no one wants a bye week early. Then you got to slog it out for weeks at a time. So those two, during my time, and I think most players can attest to this as well. Those are really the two things that you're looking at for a schedule.
Hmm. Well, and if Roger Goodell has his way, there will be more games added, or and so maybe there'll be two bye weeks in there. I mean, what do you think of again adding on games, and again trying to make sure your players get through the season?
Yeah, listen, I think I think it's a crock, with this whole player safety thing. And I don't. And listen, the players, they embrace as well, because at the end of the day, Karen, money talks. We can talk about player safety all we want, but at the end of the day, if the players are getting an additional piece of the pie, more money being brought in, then that's what they're going to do. And that's exactly what the league wants, because fans out here want more football. So it's going to happen. There's going to be a second bye week. And so, like, I would assume it's probably going to happen next year. We might be talking about 18 games next season.
Right.
So, but it's going to happen.
Well, I just hope that they don't dilute the product so much. I mean,
Yeah.
all these trade-offs, whether it's injuries, diluting the product, trying to get through the season. What if your stars get hurt? I mean, I don't know. But as you said, the almighty bottom dollar is the thing that matters.
That's it. That's the only thing that matters when we're talking about these type of issues.
Well, Damian, I want to thank you for your time. It's, as always, it's a pleasure chatting with you, talking football, Patriots, and anything else. So have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you. It's always good talking to you, Karen. And I'm sure we'll be catching up this season as well.
We certainly will. Thanks, Damian.
Thank you.